Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on this topic I want to talk about fighting against the narcissist spirit. Fighting amongst, should I say, the narcissist spirit. Fighting amongst the narcissist spirit. So when you're dealing with narcissistic people, as you guys can see from all the videos I've made, I have been fighting against myself, right? Because trying to defeat the narcissist is almost like fighting with yourself, because you're fighting them and you're going back and forth with them. You're exchanging words, you're getting into altercations. You're trying to make them see how they're hurting you. You're trying to make them see what they're doing is wrong, right? But they don't see you that way. They don't see you. They don't respect what you're saying. It's like what you're saying doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because the narcissists, they're not moving in spirit. They're moving physically. They're trapped, right? You're dealing with people who are trapped. You at one point were trapped, right? And then you were found. You saw the light. You saw, hey, I can't fight this demon physically. I can't fight this demon physically, because if I fight this demon, it's like fighting against myself. I'm going to have to pay for it. I'm going to have to pay for talking to you, for arguing with you, for trying to get you to see my point of view, because you want me to see your point of view, and what makes sense to me doesn't make sense to you, right? Even when you become aware that these people are taking your energy, right? And you can't leave. It's so easy to just walk away. But things get worse. You end up even in a situation where you're trapped, where you feel like, oh, I can't leave now. What am I going to do? What are my kids going to do? Right? And it could be easy. You can leave. But you're thinking, I want to be a family. I want this. I want that. You're thinking about your own flesh and needs. You're thinking about your flesh and needs. So you tell other people what the narcissist is doing, and guess what? They don't change, they get worse. It's like an illness. You're angering them, right? You're telling them you should be, nice enough. You should be pleasant enough. You should, see that your behavior, your anger, right, is destroying us, right? But you're not fighting the spirit, you're fighting the flesh. You're fighting the flesh. The narcissist doesn't even see you in spirit. You know how I know that? Because it was so many times where, when you're getting devalued or discarded, and you're looking at these people in their eyes because you felt like they saw your spirit, right? You're like, it's me. It's me. Don't you see me? Don't you see me? Or can't you hear me? You feel like you're going down the rabbit hole and no one's listening, right? And then you're stuck with your thoughts, with your memories, and now you're being aware and you're receiving the message. You're receiving the spirit of God telling you, hey, don't do that. Don't go there. Don't do this to yourself. Don't destroy yourself because of what someone else has done to you. You get that voice in your head telling you, I got to keep going. I got to survive. I got to keep going. I'm walking, but then I'm going to be running. Then I'm going to be running. Then I'm going to be driving. Then I'm going to be flying. You can't stop me, right? You're in the spirit. But what happens when you're in the spirit? Eventually you get too comfortable. You get too comfortable. And now all the things that you were wishing for, you appreciate them, so you say. But then you're still thinking about people who have wronged you, right? And you're thinking to yourself, how can these people just move on? How could they just not think? How could they just not apologize or have remorse? They're not in the spirit. They're not in the spirit world. They can't hear you. They don't see you. You weren't even real to them. You weren't even real to them. So when you're in the spirit, you realize you get comfortable. You say you appreciate things, but you always want more. That's the flesh. That's the human need to want that comfort or that love that you'll never find anywhere else but within yourself, because guess what? These people, they cannot see your spirit, right? So I used to stare at myself. I used to be like, dang, like I'm a human being, right? Like I'm a real person. I would look at myself. Then you start picking at yourself. You start thinking, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it was me. You start, becoming insecure. You're back, living in your body, back in the flesh. You're not living in the spirit again. You're drifting off again, right? What if the narcissist is with someone else? Why won't these people take accountability what they did? You're back in the flesh. You see people that you care about, talking to people that you feel like wronged you. You're back in the flesh. You're back in wanting to be in your ego, wanting to control what's around you, because at some point you feel like you had no control. You felt like you had no control, but really you were in control. You were just making the wrong choices because you weren't in your spirit. You weren't in spirit. You were living in the flesh. So a lot of times you feel like certain people should have said certain things to me. They weren't in the spirit. They were living in the flesh. Some of them are still living in the flesh. Some of them, they're a whole nother person. You just, physically, they look like the same person, but they're not there anymore. Just like you've changed, you've evolved in many ways, right? So when you're living in the spirit, you understand that. You understand that you get around narcissistic people. You're not aware of their spirit. They're making you physically sick. When you're aware of all these things and you're living in your spirit and you see what it's done to you, living in sin, living around, holding on to people that just don't serve you any purpose anymore in your life. And things start to get real uncomfortable because you should have known to let go. You should have known. The spirit spoke to you and you ignored it over and over again. So I always tell you guys, right? Like I've said it many times in almost every video. When I left the narcissist, I believed I was in the spirit. I'm always in and out. That's what it does to you. You're always in and out. You're there. You think you're here. But then something happens, or something big, something unexpected happen, where You know you got to put your ego to the side, but you feel like you can't because these people have hurt you. You care too much about what they think. You care too much about what they'll say, the looks they'll give. You know they're not even a part of your present anymore. But you're afraid to live in the spirit. You'll be angry even. You'll grow angry. You'll think to yourself, I forgive, and something happens. They say something about you. They make up lies. They try to gaslight you. They try to triangulate you with other people. That narcissistic spirit of confusion. And you know what it does to you? It gets you back into that confusion right away. Because even, if you don't respond, you're going through the feelings, through the emotions, through the pain. It's triggering you. How could this person say this? Oh, they're lying. You want to tell someone. You want to defend yourself after you've told yourself many times, right? A lot of times, these people almost had to sacrifice you so that they can get back, to get their life back on track. A lot of times, your family, they weren't doing anything with their lives. They targeted you, and now they behave in a way where certain things they did to you, they wouldn't do it to anyone else. So you're thinking, oh, they're treating other people better. And you think, oh, they're living in the spirit, right? You even try to talk to them. Your spirit even reaches out to them to try to see if they're awake, right? But they go back to lying. They go back to the flesh. They go back to believing their own lies. They might even tell themselves, hey, I don't want to be the person I was when I was around you. And it ain't got nothing to do with you. I just don't like the person I was. And when I'm around you, it reminds me of who I was then. But I'm not going to give you credit for changing me, because I changed me, right? They don't realize that God uses people because they're living in the flesh. They feel like it's all them. They feel like they're the masters of their reality, and they're the ones in control. And guess what? At some point, you're gonna realize you're not in control, because things are gonna happen. You're gonna see death, and you're gonna see, oh shit, I'm not in control the way I thought I was. And guess what? Those thoughts run across the narcissist's mind. It does. That's why they put their fears onto you. A lot of times, they don't even know why they did what they did. They know why they did what they did, right? But it's until it happens to them that they get to have a glimpse of what your spirit had to suffer with them. So a lot of times, you're wrestling against, the narcissistic spirit, but you can't destroy that spirit. You can't destroy that spirit. What happens? You end up hurting yourself. What happens when you go back? No one knows you. No one knows you. They know who they think they knew before. When you were vulnerable, when you were in the flesh. And then they try to trigger you. They try to test you, right? And your spirit isn't strong enough, so you stay away. Because you need peace. And as long as you have peace, they'll have peace. You're even doing them a favor. When they stay away from you, they're doing you a favor, right? So you can't destroy the narcissistic spirit. The moment you come to that realization, you will let go. It will be easier for you to let go. Once you realize, hey, just because they learn something doesn't mean, oh, they're going to live happily ever after. Because guess what? Life is never the way we expect things. We can make plans. It doesn't mean the plan is going to go the way you expect it to. It doesn't mean you're going to keep running around and keep bumping into empaths. People are going to keep, if you didn't appreciate these things, usually it's taken from you, right? And because the narcissist doesn't listen to the voice of God, they don't change these things about themselves. They are halfway in, halfway out. So this is why they can do these things to you, right? Because they're thinking about the flesh. They're thinking, I need more supply, I need more finances, I need this, I need that, to the point where you'll be looking at these people and you're like, breaking the family apart over money, all these things aren't worth it. You realize, family, people, the people you're close to, that's all that matters. But that's not the reality, right? That's how you want to look at these things. That's how you wish it could be. So you get angry and you're back in the flesh. You get upset. You get irritated because it's not on your timing. Or the end of the story didn't end up happening the way you thought it was supposed to happen. So a lot of times we're living in the flesh, right? Because it's the hardest, I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing you have to go through. I've been in and out where I'm like, how could I get angry? How could I get upset? How could I let this person trigger me? How could I, with all that I know, with all that I've been through, with all the wisdom, right? I'm not perfect, right? I'm not perfect. I think one of my biggest flaws is actually stepping into the flesh. And this is something that I can catch it, right away. Stepping into the flesh where I feel like someone's wronged me, and a part of me knows, my spirit knows, that I needed to go through these things for their own evolution, right? My spirit knows these things. Like the narcissist had to sacrifice you because they really needed it. You think to yourself, why do they pick good people, not bad people, right? It's like they're on demon time. What's going on? That person needed someone to hear their story. That person needed someone to validate their pain. They were seeking someone to validate their pain. If the narcissist goes to the Jezebel spirit, that Jezebel spirit is not going to validate their pain. They're going to compete. They're going to devalue. They're going to triangulate. They're going to reflect themselves back to them. The narcissist will go crazy and will end up in a world of more misery, right? So they seek empaths because they're afraid. The problem is that when you give them fuel, they become boastful. They become arrogant, conceited. The opposite of love, meaning that you can give someone more than what they have, and if they don't appreciate what they have, what can they do with more when you're giving them more? They can't do nothing but destroy it because they're living in the flesh, and you can see it, right? The desperation, the pain, you can see it in their eyes when they need you. And when they're indifferent from you, they can't even look you in your eyes. There's like they glimpse away. Their eyes start shifting. They start getting angry. It's like they start projecting their anger, right? They want to make it to another level. They're in such a rush to make it to a higher level, to get more supply, right? They become arrogant because they're back in the flesh. Right? You teach them forgiveness over and over again. Now that you're in the spirit, right? You understand the power of forgiveness, but you also understand the power of letting go. You understand the power of silence because you know how that silent treatment made you feel, right? You had to learn to let go. That was your biggest mistake in life, right? That's something that you even admired from the narcissist, how they could just move on like nothing, right? They move on like nothing, like it's not painful, right? Like they've done it many times, like it's became so easy, right? And you're like, don't you see my spirit? And they're like, I'm not here to save you. You got to save yourself, right? And then you feel that pain take over your body, and you're almost like everyone only cares about themselves. It's sick, right? And that pain can eat you up alive, and it'll make you question everything, right? And you're back living in that physical realm when you knew that these people had to use you for their own evolution. Because I would think to myself, right, I had a lot of anger at first because I felt like these people weren't doing nothing with their life. You know, they went and wrote this on my graduation card they were hating. These people tried to destroy me, ruin my reputation, break up my family dynamic. You know, the narcissist played their role. They fed off of it like a leech. Used my tribulations and things that were going to be, pitiable points in my life that were going to bring me close to consciousness about the reality of who the people around me were, because I realized I never knew them. They were just there. They never knew me. Everyone was living in the flesh, right? So you start living in the spirit, but they're still not there yet. You're frustrated. You can't get through to them. You know you got to leave them behind. It even hurts. You see that, you at first it kind of pisses you off a little bit, not even a little bit, a lot of bit. But you also know you can't do nothing about it because that was how destiny was supposed to play out. You had free will. Your flesh had free will. Your spirit told you multiple times. You just couldn't hear it because of all the distractions around you. The distractions from friends, people, society, strangers, television, music, the distractions all over the place. Static everywhere, right? There was static everywhere. You had to go through undeniable pain for you to erase all the distractions. You don't want to really be around people now. You didn't really want to look at people, families, everything triggering you, relationships, people kissing you, people in love triggering you, because you remember how you felt in that moment when you thought that someone was able to see your spirit, and then they show you that they never knew you at all and you're on your own. So you isolate yourself. You can't look at TV, you can't look at anything. You're seeing people being deceived. You see people under a spell. You see people dying. You see death, you see birth. You see it all. You feel it all. And you feel like you're nothing. You feel like, oh, these people just went off living their happily ever life. Look at him. He finally decided to go do something with his life. He finally decided to go to college, do something, get a program. Look at him. Look at her. Still gossiping about me, still saying lies about me. You never even knew me. You definitely don't know me now. Look at the narcissists. They were feeding off of these people over here trying to tear me down, and you did the same thing. And look at you now. Now you're at in life where you want it to be. And you feel like these people sacrificed you, right? Because you're living in the flesh. You're living in the physical realm. You're living in the physical world. You're living in the narcissist world where what you have, how, your status, money, looks, physical looks, all these things, right? All these things that are physical things, right? They're living in that realm. So you see that you can't connect to those people. It's like you're not under the same Wi-Fi. You're not under the same program. You can't even understand them, right? You can't even understand them anymore. You could understand them, but you can't understand them, why they do the things that they do. But all this stems from pain. And your physical self, right, knows, your physical self is angry, but your spiritual self knows, hey, this physical realm, it doesn't matter. Your spirit is telling you, this physical realm, it doesn't matter. These jobs, the money, all that shit, it doesn't matter. It's not even real. It's just a way for us to stay alive and remain alive. But those things aren't real. The pain, the experiences, all that, it's real. They're spirits, right? They're spirits in people. You just don't know what kind of spirits they have. You weren't aware of that because you weren't in the spirit. So that shit scares you, because then you'll realize, wow, it's spirits everywhere, right? Some of them are conscious, some of them aren't. Some of them are angels, some of them are wicked, right? You realize the traits of a person with narcissistic traits, not because of the physical, right? You used to pay attention to the physical, right? What would a narcissist do, right? Characteristics, things that you listen to on the internet, right? You used to pay attention to the physical, behaviors and gestures that the narcissist does. But when you're living in the spirit, they don't even got to do nothing for you to just know what type of spirit they have. You could see right in their eyes and right through their soul. Soon as they get to talking, right? Your spirit says, "See, I told you, right?" Sometimes they're very good, very deceitful, because your spirit will tell you something's wrong. But it doesn't seem that way, right? Because then you'll start lowering your guard. Maybe my spirit was wrong. You don't seem that bad, right? And then you start feeling like maybe it's not what I think it is. And then they'll say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, or it's something about how they do something, and you'll have that voice, that inner voice that will tell you, no, this isn't right. You got to get away from this person. Their spirit doesn't align with you. You're trying too hard. That's not what this journey is about. Your spirit will tell you, this is not what the journey is about. And it's the hardest thing, because the flesh just wants to keep taking over. You want to keep living in the flesh. You keep, you go through illnesses, even with the narcissist, and you'll think, why me? Why am I going through this? Why did I have to go through this? This person wore me down. This person took my energy. This person just drained me physically, mentally, right? Why this? I've seen people in so many situations where their health, where they went through so many things even worse than me. And you realize, right? You have those moments where you realize it doesn't even matter. Yeah, it does matter physically, right? But your spirit is telling you that's just your story. That's what it is. You got to go through it. You have to make it through. See, the narcissistic spirit is there to distract you from what you have to do before you leave this planet, right? So we're so caught up in the flesh. I would tell myself, I got to move on. I got to do these things, right? I'll get caught up in the flesh because I would say, oh, I won't have these things if I don't go and find the right person. I won't have, you're thinking ahead of creating a life, creating a family, maybe because your family has been distorted. You're thinking, you're thinking in the flesh. You're listening to people. People's thoughts are getting in your mind. That's why the internet is a very dangerous place, because you could be living in the spirit and then you get online, you start hearing the way people talk about one another, how women talk about men, how men talk about women. You start listening to what people are saying. If you don't get to this age, you're not going to get this. If you don't have this, you'll never have this. This is why they're laughing at you, they're mocking you, they're telling you what you don't deserve. They're telling you what your value is, they're telling you, they're telling you who you are. And they're living in the physical. All these people are living in a physical realm. They're not living in the spirit realm, because they'll be sitting here talking about what you don't deserve, and the next day they're gone. They're dead, deceased, poof. Right? So I was living in the spiritual, but I drifted off when I got back into the world. I said, I'm gonna go back into the world, right? You're thinking about the flesh, about your worldly desires. Even though God would tell me, no, you got to keep talking. You got to keep speaking your truth. You got to keep speaking what I've allowed you to see. You can't backtrack into your fleshly needs, right? You got a mission. You're here for a reason. These bad things happen for a reason, and you're just ready to go back into the world, back into your fleshly needs. You're like, okay, everybody only cares about themselves. Everybody's carrying their own cross. And a part of you don't feel right. You're like, if everyone's carrying their own cross, how could I expect this fairy tale story, right? So you come back to the spirit, but then you're fighting against it. No, this is what I want, not thinking certain people didn't even get to experience half the things you experience. You know how many people I grew up with ended up on drugs, homeless, on the street? How many people just died from car accidents, from health problems, right? Some you think had more than you, and those people feel broken. They feel like they lost everything. And you're looking at the outer, at the physical. You don't know how those people feel. You're looking at celebrities. Oh, they're rich. They got this. You're not looking at the physical. You're not looking at the spirit. You're not looking at people from a spiritual sight. So sometimes you think, oh, my life is supposed to be this way. It's supposed to go this way. Oh, it hasn't happened for me, because you're living in the physical. So when I spent those years alone, I went through different emotions. I was triggered by people because I realized, wow, people got spirits, right? Like I realized my own spirit, right? And I would think to myself, the narcissist people that I care about, they can't even see how much pain I'm in. They're like, don't look for me. I'm going through my own pain. I'm carrying my own cross. And it's like they take what you think, what you've created in your mind to be good. And a lot of times there was nothing good about it. It was just that innocence in you. And that's what they fed off. They fed off of that because a lot of narcissists, like I said, they won't go to another narcissist because the empath is the people that they go to because they want to be heard. They want to be heard. The empath hears them, can see their spirit. The Jezebel spirit cannot. So you're fighting against someone's spirit who's carrying their own cross, and they're not willing to help you. They're not willing to say, hey, let me carry your cross for you for a little bit. Let's take turns. They're not willing to do that. They're not living in the spiritual. They're not living with God, right? So I said, I want to get back out there. And I've shared this story many times, but like I said, there's people on here who, might be new subscribers. And I went out there, It's just like when I, on my birthday, I told you guys, someone broke into my car, stole my AirPods, money, a whole bunch of valuable stuff. And my spirit was telling me, don't go there. My spirit was telling me, don't park here. And I ignored it. So guess what? When my spirit said, I told you so, I couldn't even be mad at my spirit. I was mad at my flesh because I said, I listened to my flesh because I felt tired. I had done too much that day. I even was drinking. I was in the flesh. It was my birthday. I had been drinking too. I was like, I just want to go back to my room, right? I was in the flesh. And I was like, damn, I'm thinking I'm doing the right things, right? Because, you try to live a righteous life. You try to do the right things, the good things, right? I'm sitting here trying to celebrate my birthday. I got my mom with me, we're just chilling in the jacuzzi and just, living our little best lives. And something, told me, right? I ignored it. And even though I wasn't doing anything bad, I ignored the spirit. The spirit is always with us. It's always protecting us, right? That's how quickly you can ignore the spirit just because you think, oh, I'm not sinning. I'm not messing with no one. I'm not talking bad about no one. I'm not doing anything. It's all innocent. But that's how quickly you can tap out of the spirit because the spirit told me it's not safe here. And I didn't listen. And then that happened. And it was kind of like a I told you moment. And it was like, you got to listen to me all the time. I was like, that's crazy, right? So when I start dating this person, that first person I dated, I'm like, this person's life is together, seems like a gentleman, has treated me with nothing but respect, but there was something off, right? Like one night we were supposed to go on a date, and they were basically telling me they had an emergency, so they were going to be an hour late, and my spirit said, don't talk to this person no more, and I ignored it. I was like, well, they said something happened. My spirit said, don't talk to them anymore. I ignored it. After that, we met up a couple more times. Everything was fine, right? Everything was fine, but my spirit kept telling me something. Finally, when I got up and close personal with them, I started getting chills. Their teeth start looking like fangs, start looking like a vampire to me, and I just ran, literally ran, and they contacted me later and was like, I told my friend you just ran off on me, and I don't know what I did to run you off. I've never had a girl run off on me like that. I felt like I was at a haunted house and I literally ran off. And I know I looked stupid as hell, but I remember thinking when I got home, like, the narcissist really like messed you up. Like, you're scared of men, right? Like, you're scared to be around men. And I was blaming myself. And my spirit was telling me, no, something was up with this person, right? My spirit was telling me like it wasn't you. But I still felt like it was my fault. Because I'm back in the physical. Now you're blaming yourself. You know, like when a narcissist does something to you, you ain't got no proof, but then you're blaming yourself because you have a feeling something's up, but they're gaslighting you. So my spirit was telling me no. But I'm like, but they didn't do anything to me. They said it doesn't matter, even if it looks like it. They didn't do anything to you. I know what they did to you. The spirit kept telling me, right? I know what they did to you. It doesn't seem like it because you don't know them very well, right? Like, the spirit was telling me something's up. By the way, this person told me that their wife had died, right, from cancer. That was the thing that kind of made me feel bad for them. That was the kind of icebreaker a little bit where I was like, you know, like, he's confident, but it seems like he could be empathetic the way he shared something with me, right? So when I meet up with my friend, let's say his name is Josh. When I meet up with my friend, I'm like, you know, I hadn't seen her in years because she lived in another state. So when she moved back, we met up. When I saw her, gave her a hug. And when I gave her a hug, the spirit said, ask her if she knows Josh. I said, I'm not asking her if she knows Josh. Just ask her. No, I haven't seen her in years. Why would I ask her something like that? Just ask her. No, I'm not going to ask her. What do you have to lose? It literally said, what do you have to lose? I thought I was going crazy. A part of me was like, is it the spirit talking to me or am I crazy? Right? So I asked her. I was like, I'm going to put my pride to the side. I'm going to just ask her. Why are you asking me if I know Josh? Does he drive this, that? Yeah. A white car? Yeah. Did he send you over here? No, he doesn't even know I know you. Then how do you know that me and him talked? Is this why you came to see me? No, that's not why I came to see you. I came to visit you. Then how do you know I know him? Why would you ask me something like that? My spirit told me to ask you. I don't know why. My spirit told me to ask you. She said, I don't believe you. I'm about to call him right now. I said, don't call him. He doesn't know I know you. Well, I don't know. Something's up. She just wanted to have an excuse to call him, right? So I said to her, there's another thing that I said to her that I probably didn't mention in another video, but I said to her, I said, did his wife die? Right? And she goes, she said, what do you mean? I said, yeah, he told me his wife died and she died from cancer. And she goes, dang, he killed his whole wife off? No, he told me him and his wife got a divorce, but he didn't tell me she died. Damn, he done killed the whole wife off, right? So it was like my perception of him changed completely. And what's crazy is that that's the only reason I felt like, okay, maybe, because I felt like I couldn't read his spirit very well, even though he was nice. But it was like I couldn't sense his spirit because you only know what people reveal to you. So it's like he threw me all the way off. And my spirit knew it. But I didn't know it, right? Physically, I didn't know it. My mind, my brain couldn't process that. My spirit told me that. That higher intelligence of God told me that. Why would I know something like that? Why would I know something like that? But I felt it. God's voice kept telling me. I kept ignoring it because I was like, I don't see any flaw in him. But the spirit kept telling me, So that's when I knew. I said, he's not a good person. I was right. The reason when I ran out of his house and he kept contacting me is because he knew that I sent something. He just couldn't figure out why I did that. But he knew deep down inside why. And what's crazy, when I actually bumped into him again and we kind of were like on good terms. I didn't, expose him or anything. It was just very quick and cordial. I bumped into him again and the spirit was telling me, like, don't ever expose these people, because that's when that spirit wants to attack you. When your spirit tells you something's wrong about someone, you just got to keep moving on. You can't hold on. So basically, never hold on to people that are not there in the spirit with you, in the spirit realm, because they're going to attack no matter how nice they seem, right? So the spirit told me, you got to be careful with, overlooking the kindness and the deeds for what that spirit is bringing. Because what people do is they look at people physically, what they have, the cars, the money. You're looking at that. You're looking at them being charismatic, but you don't know what their spirit is like. So my spirit was like, see, you got to listen. You get ahead of yourself right away. You're getting ahead of yourself when I told you, and you're sitting here trying to look for some type of, you're trying to look for a flaw. And guess what? Some of these narcissistic spirits, they're not going to show you any flaws because they know you figured them out. They're not going to show you any flaws. You got to be in the spirit or you're not going to see it coming. So I could see my friend's spirit, and I was like, she still wants to mess with him. She probably even wants to mess with him even more because she knows, like, I've talked to him, right? So I learned right there and then, this is why you got to be in the spirit, because guess what? If I hadn't been in the spirit, I could have fell for this person. I could have been triangulated, and then I could have found out that he was sleeping with my friend, and then I would have been fighting my friend, or she would have been fighting me, and then I would have assumed that she purposely got with him because she knew about me, or she would have thought that I purposely got with him because I knew about her, right? Because I wasn't even supposed to be with that person to begin with, because the narcissist has the spirit of confusion. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta live in the spirit because this is real. The way people connect with one another, how the demons, the evil entities and these narcissists get together like this, that live in the world, in the flesh, it's real. This how they destroy you. Right? So the spirit is there to save you, to give you life. Every day the spirit is giving you life. But what people do is they ignore it, or they don't want to follow the rules, or they do something, and that all you're doing is the narcissist spirit is bringing you closer to death. So what the spirit was doing was it was protecting me from death. Those relationships, that friend, they were all going to bring death. So I had to get away from them. Because all they're going to experience is death until they're able to walk in the spirit. And it was a lot of little things my friend also was doing where I was like, she's not living in the spirit. She's burning sage and shit in her living room, acting like there's evil spirits in here, but she's the evil spirit. The people that she's sleeping with are evil spirits. The men she brings in her home are evil spirits. She's so focused on these men, she doesn't know these men are carrying evil spirits and are preying on her children. They might be preying on her children. She's so focused, consumed with these narcissistic men that she don't even realize that she's putting everyone in danger. So that's what the spirit told me. The spirit said, you're putting people in danger when you're talking to the you're engaging with the narcissistic spirit. You're not just putting yourself in danger, you're putting the people around you in danger. And that's why you got to walk in the spirit, because the spirit has you here for a purpose. The spirit has you here to give life, words of enlightenment to other people, to save them from themselves. So if you start thinking about worldly things and relationships and things like that, and it's not the right timing and you're forcing it, it doesn't come from the spirit. And that's why you will look at the narcissist, you will look them in the eyes, and they don't see your spirit. You'll cry to them, you'll try to engage with them and show them how you're feeling, what they've done to you, and they're not going to take accountability. They're going to lie to your face. They're going to make you angry. They're going to make you cry. And it's because they want you to be in the flesh. They don't want you to be strong and be in your spirit. Because I would look at the narcissist and I would think to myself, they don't see my spirit. Like, it's like you start to irritate them. Like, it's like, they once upon a time, they loved everything about you. And then next thing you know, they hate everything about you. They hate your voice. You don't even want to talk. It's like you don't even want to talk because you feel like that person hates you so much. And you don't know what you did to them. You're like, I don't know what I did to this person, but they hate everything about me now. It's like they don't even see your spirit. It's like you're trying to show them your spirit, and you're trying to find the right words to say so that they can understand who you are spiritually. But they're caught up physically in anything that you do out of the kindness of your heart. It's being seen as weakness. So when you're in the spirit, you can see through those type of people that think that you being nice is a weakness. And those are the people that, are usually going to attack, because they don't see you in a spiritual way. They're living in the physical realm. So it allowed me to see those things, to see, to stand up for myself at the same time, but also understand that the spiritual battles that these people are facing have nothing to do with me. And that's how you'll have more peace when you're fighting, because you can't destroy the narcissist spirit. You don't have the power to do that. Those people that do things to you, they're carrying their own cross. They're trying to sacrifice you so that it can numb. They're trying to make you carry their cross for a little bit because they can't bear the pain. Once you understand that they can't run away from the things they've done, that they have to reap everything that they've sown. Once you have a clear understanding of that, it will make your healing process better. It will allow you to let go. It will allow you to let go of your physical family, the people you love, the people you care about, the people you can't get through to. In your perfect world, in the spiritual world, you would want everything to play out, the way you want it to play out. And then what happens is that the empath will mourn that for a very long time, of understanding that you can't change anyone. You can't change the way they're feeling. You can't change how people feel about you. You can't control the people that speak to your enemies. You can't control anything. All you need to do, all you need to know is that when you're in the spirit, whoever is around you, wherever you're at, there is a reason why you're there. You need to look around. You need to understand why you're there. You can't think about the physical realm, the bad things that happen to you, the things that are keeping you, that you feel are keeping you from living your dream life. You have to let go of what you believe the dream life should be and enjoy the reality that you have. Because a lot of narcissists, they're living in the physical, not in the spiritual. And they're trying to use people to get to climb their way into someone else's reality. You know what I'm saying? But when they do that, they're in the physical realm. They're climbing into people's realities that aren't aware of the spirit. You know what I'm saying? But once that person becomes aware of the spirit, that evil spirit has to go back to the home that it belongs to. And the home that it belongs to is usually where you found the narcissist, where they basically belong. They can't go into another. They can't just go into someone else's reality and stay there forever. They literally have to sell themselves out. They have to do something. They have to, they have to do something where someone's life is, in order for them to even get to a different reality, first of all, they got to work for it. Or it's supposed to plan out, right? It's supposed to be something that was a working progress for them to get there. It was a working progress, if that's how I can explain it. But what happens with narcissists is that what they do is that they con you in the flesh. They portray something that they're not. But you can't climb your way somewhere without it coming to light eventually. You know what I'm saying? Eventually things will come to light. Eventually people will see things in the spirit. Because certain things that the narcissist will do, it's not going to make sense because they don't belong in that reality. So eventually they're going to be forced out of that reality. You got to work your way to the next level. Your family, the generations, the narcissists, they look at supply like they won the lotto. But what ends up happening a lot of times is if that supply ignores the spirit long enough, they'll just sacrifice you. They'll sacrifice what you got. And then when they sacrifice everything that you got, you will still have a chance to redeem yourself because the spirit knows that you were unaware. So you'll have a chance to redeem yourself. Sometimes you'll tell yourself, I promise God, I'm not going to go back. And you do, and things will get worse. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with narcissists, you have to look at these people in the spiritual realm. I also realized that I thought I knew the narcissist spirit, right? You think you know the narcissist spirit. You see their pain. You see parts of them, but what you don't know is that there's a lot of stuff going on behind those eyes that you actually don't get to see. So you think you know them, you think you know the wicked parts of them, but you don't know how diabolical it gets. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times, you think, you see this person and you know them, and then eventually when they start showing you who they are, when they're lashing out at you and you can see the hate in their eyes, you're seeing their spirit and you can't understand it. You can't understand the anger. You're almost like, what did I do to you? You know what I'm saying? You can't understand it. But it's because that spirit has a lot of things that no one even knows about, things that they can't share, things that are very dark, And then you'll try to look at them and figure it out. You're in the spirit and you start to see, wow, I never really knew the narcissist, right? You'll get that thought in your head. I never really knew them. The narcissist might even tell you that you don't really know them. The devil will even reveal itself to you. The problem is that we get to thinking that we got to save this person from their sins. And what you will know is that you don't have control. You do not have control over the narcissist spirit. You don't have control. The only thing you have control over is your own spirit. And your own spirit will keep telling you that it's time to move on. That it's time to move on. It's time to leave people behind, even if it hurts. It's time to erase people out of our emotions, our physical emotions, even the closest people that we care about, even the people that we feel like we're bound to by blood, right? Your spirit will tell you, respect them, honor them, but you got to think ahead, because they're not always going to be around. They might, it might be distance, or they might just be gone one day. So your spirit will prepare you to let go of people, to let go, because they're not always going to be there. And what happens is that you stop living your life trying to protect them. Certain people you got to protect, you got to be around them, right? You got to honor them, but you have to love them enough to let them go. Let them be around the narcissistic, people in your life that you might feel like, sometimes you might feel like you want to control them. Oh, don't be around this person, do this. What you have to realize is that everyone's carrying their own cross. Certain people got certain destinies, people that they started off with even before you. Sometimes you feel like, oh, you should pick my side because I'm your kid and this person is your sister, or this person's your cousin, or sometimes we want to control people. Well, we have to understand that we are spirits. We're having a human experience, and sometimes the people that we even care about might go and drift off and be around other people, and it's okay. All you have to know is that your spirit will tell you to let it go, to let it be, to let things play out, to stop. You don't have control. Don't even try to redirect certain people's understanding of narcissism or understanding about spirituality or their faith in God. You don't got to prove nothing to nobody. You don't got to prove nothing to nobody. Your spirit is going to tell you that it is better. It is okay if they're around people that, they might treat them different from you, and that's okay. They might treat them good and might treat you bad, and you label them a narcissist, right? Because they might bash you, they might talk about you, they might gossip about you. But guess what? If that person's not doing anything to you, you got to forgive. So the spirit will tell you, as long as these people are not alone, you should feel okay. You should feel okay, because certain people, they need other people. They can't process information the way you do. They can't process the spirit the way you do. Right? So when you're in the spirit, you can't sit there and be like, oh, they're older than me, they're supposed to be doing they're supposed to be the bigger person. Because physically they might be older than you, but spiritually you might be older than them. If spiritually you understand things that they might not understand, you just have to let things play out. You have to be okay with not controlling people, with not telling people what to do or what to think or what to believe, because you're in the spirit realm now. In the spirit realm, none of that matters. In the spirit realm, none of the physical realm, relationships, family, none of that matters. In the spiritual realm, it's all about testing people's spirits that's around you. It's all about healing. It's all about love, loving those that might not be aware of certain people. It's not your job or place to do it. They got to go through it themselves. It's your job to be there, to not be angry, to not hold resentment against others, And I'm telling you, it sounds easy to do, but it has to be. To me, it's been one of the hardest things to do, because my flesh will take over, and then the feelings of anger, the feelings of hate, or certain feelings that I don't like will come, but I have to literally be in the spirit, talk to the spirit, and the spirit calms me down, and the spirit tells me these aren't real emotions. This is just the flesh. This is just the flesh. Let it go. It's just the flesh. Eventually I calmed down. I realized I was being irrational. I realized I would have made a fucking a text or an email to the narcissist because I'm in my emotions. It's like how many of us have been, we've healed and we've been away from the narcissist. A song will play, a movie will play, we'll watch something where it talks about love and forgiveness, and we're like, oh, well, let me go and contact the narcissist and tell them I forgive them and I love them and I want to be back. You start, your emotions will take over you. So when you're in the spirit, you have to learn to let go of your emotions, because your emotions are temporary, and most of the emotions, what you do is you react on impulse right away. You try to defend yourself, and guess what? Now the narcissist spirit wants a physical war with you. And guess what? Why would you want to go to war in the physical realm when you're not even in the physical realm anymore? You're in the spirit. In the physical realm, it don't even matter no more. So why would you even do that? For what? Because now you got to come back to the physical world. And then all those feelings of anger, all those feelings, they're going to be attacking. You're going to feel like defending yourself. You're going to be mad that they're even thinking about you. You're going to be mad that they're gossiping about you. You're going to start thinking about what they did. And now you're in the physical realm, and that narcissistic spirit, it knows because it's getting energy off of you. So when you're in the spirit and you're not paying these people no mind, they're fighting against themselves. So when they're talking about you, they're talking about themselves. When they're gossiping about you, when they're doing blasphemous stuff, when they're trying to turn people against you, when you spoke your truth and now they're mad and they're trying to make, they're acting like like they're going to live forever. They're not living in reality anymore. They're back in the flesh. So you have to know how to take yourself away from the flesh, because that's what that narcissistic spirit wants. And once it knows that you know that, guess what it's going to do? It's going to say, I can't get to you through this person. I'm going to go and get into this other person. That's why you got to forgive everybody that's living in the flesh. That's why you got to forgive them. They don't even know what they're doing. You got to let go. Just let go. It doesn't even matter anymore. So I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace in your healing. I hope that you guys enjoyed this topic. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you guys want to book a session with me, you guys know my booking information is always on the description. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.